Yo, beautiful human. I want to walk you through a framework I've been thinking about a ton on how to upgrade your thinking. This is the clearest framework that I have found to identify why you may be stuck in your current level of income, or maybe why your current level of income feels way harder than it needs to be. So, I've identified there are three main mental altitudes we can tap into when it comes to our thinking: reactive, strategic, creative. And the thing that keeps most of us stuck is not what we're doing with these, right? With the skills and the tools. It's what's happening up here, it's what's happening in here. And I want to walk you through the lens that has been most helpful for me because many of you, chances are feeling stuck. You feel like you're hitting a wall and you're looking for the answers out there. And of course, right, modules, frameworks, podcasts, all of that stuff can be so helpful. But it's really what's happening internally that is the self limiter for most of us, specifically when it comes to money. And I just want to walk you through the lens that I have found to be most helpful for me to identify where may I be holding myself back. So let's talk about reactive. This is where most of the human population lives. This is a body led reaction to life. It's like true fight or flight. So let's just walk through some examples, right? A client leaves. Most of us have a reaction. Now, hopefully, over time, and we'll talk through this, you get better at dealing with the reactions. But many of us react and then we go and like react. We create an action. We go and do something. So we try and fight to keep that client, or we might try and quickly go get a new client, right? Our money in our account drops below the baseline we're most comfortable with. We jump into hyperdrive, we hustle, we grind, we get stuff done. We are reacting, right? So I've got a few notes here. So reactive is really asking yourself the question, how do I fix this now? It's very short-term thinking. Now, if you were to objectively look at this and answer for yourself, like, do I live a lot of time in reaction? You can probably see that if you do, why that would limit your income, why that would limit the types of decisions you're making, the quality of decisions you're making, the types of people you would let into your world, types of clients you want to work with, the types of offers you want to create, etc. So really why this is so key is because the decisions and the actions you're making are driven by the emotions of fear, discomfort, scarcity, right? So this triggers this triggers lead to fast action, right? So it's launch now, post now, change direction. It's very much a short-term game. Now, if you're living here, I really want to encourage you to understand that this is super normal. This is where most humans live. And in fact, we adapted to be reactive creatures, right? You hear the rustling in the bush. You don't say to yourself, I wonder if that could be a dinosaur or a lion or it could be a best friend, right? That's a very stupid example. But you react. But now we're not living in a freaking hunter gatherer world. We no longer need to have a reactionary level to us that drives us through our everyday life. Now, of course, to stay safe, cool, react. But in business, in life, creating alignment, we do not want to react. So, ways that we move from reactive thinking, a reactive internal architecture, to a strategic internal architecture is firstly, and this is going to sound so basic, pausing and breathing before acting. Actually creating stillness in the body, not allowing the client leaving, the client you thought was going to join didn't join, the offer that didn't go well, the bank account dipping below, not letting that put you into hyperdrive activity, but pausing and breathing and really identifying what you're feeling, right? This is step one. Step two is zooming out from the urgency and the scarcity of like, I need to solve this right now. I promise, like if you take 10 to 15 minutes with this business or life problem, you're probably going to be fine. In fact, you're going to be better than fine. And the third thing is, and now this is strategic, but asking yourself, like, what could have prevented this from happening this time? Or what system can I create to prevent this happening next time? You're trying to zoom out from this moment of reaction, the critical moment where something didn't go right. And we're trying to zoom out and say, like, how would I live? Or what kind of business would I create? Or how would I stop that from happening again? You're thinking longer term, more strategically. Everyone who's listening to this needs to focus on where your reactive thinking, where your reactive inner architecture might still be alive in you, and you need to focus on stamping it out. If you want to make high income, if you want to have offers that attract amazing clients, you have to step out of reactive, because the reality is that you attract who you are. You don't attract what you want. So if you are sick of working with reactive clients, it's not a marketing issue, it is a self-embodiment issue. It is the fact that you are living in reactivity and that you are simply attracting who you are. So if you want to attract a higher caliber person, if you want to have the capacity to hold more money, you have to change your internal world. Number two, strategic. The question that drives this is not what can I do now, but what's the smartest long-term way to solve this? Now, if reactive is body led, strategic is mind led. This is where we start to become more logical. We don't just react, we don't just let something happen and then cause us to jump into hyperdrive. We think about this from a longer term perspective, right? So we focus on planning, scaling, optimizing, systems building, so funnels, content plans, team structures. Of course, all of this is relevant outside of business, but specifically for business. And it's way more calculated, focused, and efficient. Now, there are totally drawbacks for living at the strategic level, but it's a huge improvement to reactive. I want you to really challenge yourself right now. Like, where can you step more into strategic thinking when it comes to the way that you're running your business right now? Where are you living in reactive? And the opportunity is to think longer term, to zoom out, to not have such a body reaction, fight or flight to things going well or not going well. Where can you actually start to strategically make better decisions, logical decisions? The key, though, is understanding that this isn't the pinnacle. And everything changed for me when I made the focus of my life to cultivate better thinking and specifically more creative thinking. Tony Robbins says it like this. And even if he'd never said this, I honestly have observed this reality in working with so many people. He says, success is 80% psychology, 20% strategy. When I focused on making this shift from strategic and from reactive to creative, everything got better for me. I made more money. I was able to live a more free, fulfilling, beautiful life. And the invitation I have for you today is like where in your life can you tap further into this creative level thinking? So this is what creative level thinking is. If reactive is body led, strategic is mind led, creative is heart led. So you can ask yourself, how can I get more clients into this offer over the long term? That's strategic. Creative is this the right offer for me to be selling? Strategic is, how can I get my goal of 50K a month MRR in the next 6 months? Creative is, what is the actual goal that I want to live my life and optimizing for? Now, this might sound airy-fairy journaling type stuff, but I'm telling you right now, when I've layered creative thinking into my scaling of the business, it has allowed me to, number one, stop doing stuff that I don't enjoy, don't like, was never moving the needle in the first place. And number two, building a business that I enjoy, building a business that keeps me in my zone of genius, and build a business that allows me to be energetically attractive, to attract clients into my world. So key things here, right? Intuition, clarity, alignment. So it's really building from that place of like the inner knowing, not validation. We're no longer trying to impress people on the internet. Creative thinking will not allow you to just do things for ego's sake. Creative thinking is about tapping into who you are, tapping into what you want. The second part of this is you create from stillness, simplicity, and vision. So if you think about reactivity is instant, like this happened, I need to do this. Strategic is a bit slower. You think long term. What this allows you to do in creative thinking is it's no longer about motion and action and just moving as fast as you can. It's about stillness, slowing down, taking some time to really think through, what kind of person do I want to become? What kind of business do I want to build? What am I really optimizing for? This kind of thinking requires full consciousness. It requires you to be awake, not asleep at the wheel. You can't live in autopilot when you're trying to tap into creative thinking. When you're tapping into creative thinking, you're also tapping into the most creative part of who you are. So when you think like this, you create better content. You become more magnetic to people who are at a higher level, and this is sounding woo-woo, but like higher level of consciousness, who have kind of like living in better, healthier emotional states. They're no longer stressed, they're no longer afraid, they're no longer scarce. You can only attract those people when you become that type of person. And you become that type of person by living in that inner state of creative thinking. And so you sustain this by protecting your peace, by protecting your time, by creating margin in your calendar. You cannot be the most creative version of yourself when you've blocked out every 15 minutes of your life. You also can't do it when you're all consumed with productivity and getting stuff done. Mindlessly consuming, mindlessly hustling. You have to create space. Number two, you can only sustain creative thinking when you are building from alignment. I can't engage in creative thinking with stuff I don't care about. And so it requires you to build a business that you actually care about, serve the clients that you actually care about. And the last thing is like letting joy and fun lead your strategy, not urgency. And all of this stuff can sound so fluffy. Like I'm telling you, like many of you, you want like the script, the hack, the ad strategy from me, and those things are important. This is the stuff that's really shifted for me and made the biggest difference in my life is examining how I think, examining how I feel, and understanding that there are levels and layers to this. Most humans live in reactive. Most entrepreneurs live in reactive. A few good entrepreneurs live in strategic, and very few people on the planet live in creative. And if you can spend the time to examine where you are now and what is holding you in that state, and work on cultivating a greater, more resilient, more powerful and creative mind that allows you to not just react in the short term, but to think and dream about the long term, everything changes. This isn't an airy philosophical video. This is deeply pragmatic because every day you get to practice this. Every moment something doesn't go your way, you get to practice this. You get to go, am I thinking reactively, strategically, or creatively? So this is a framework that's been in my mind. And since I kind of put pen to paper and thought about it, it has been deeply impactful for me. And I hope it's valuable for you because this is the stuff that actually allows the income to grow. This is the stuff that actually allows you to hold more money without constantly feeling like you're going to lose it or go backwards or be in fear or scarcity. So hope this video has been helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Sending you a ton of love.